Good evening. I'm CJ Kiley, President of the Pine Richland Chapter of the National Honor Society. Welcome to the 2018 National Honor Society Induction Ceremony. We are gathered here to formally recognize those students who have been selected by the Faculty Council of our school for successfully completing their candidacy and who are being inducted as new members of our NHS chapter. For current members and for those former members who may be among our guests, we hope this will serve to remind you of the standards of excellence you too are charged with maintaining as members of the nation's oldest, largest, and most prestigious student recognition program. I would now like to introduce the NHS officers in attendance this evening. Officers, please stand when I call your name. Vice President Grace Krankovic, Secretary Zainab Akhtar, Treasurer Sarah Coleman, Service Coordinator Radha Patel, Service Coordinator Mahika Sampat, Peer Tutoring Coordinator Devin Gola. Thank you all for your dedication to our chapter. Now, I'm going to ask everyone to please rise for the singing of the national anthem and Pine Richland Alma Mater.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Through the gracious halls of learning march thy students ever yearning. To the lamps of wisdom turn, Pine Richland, I'll hail. Sing the chorus loudly, lift thy banner proudly. Green and white you'll always light our paths and goals so brightly. On we march for alma mater, on we march each son and daughter, singing loud our praises to Pine Richland, I'll hail.
Please join me in thanking Kevin Zhao, Melina Walco, Brandon Pierce, and Carly Sotala for providing the music for this evening. On behalf of the officers, inductees, and returning members, we would like to thank all the administrators in attendance this evening. We value your support of our chapter and appreciate you being here tonight to honor the induction of our new members. It is now my pleasure to introduce our high school principal, Mrs. Bowman, for the opening remarks.
Good evening and welcome to all of our family, friends, and students that are here this evening. Congratulations to all of our National Honor Society inductees. Your dedication and commitment to scholarship, service, leadership, and character reflects personal growth and your desire to be resilient through any challenges you may encounter. I know that each and every one of you have demonstrated a commitment to the 4 pillars of this organization. And as I reflect on those, interestingly, each of the pillars connects to the mission, vision, and values of our school. And at Pine Richland High School, we continue to be committed to that Pine Richland pride and what that represents to us daily in our actions and how we carry ourselves in all that we do. So to each new inductee and to our current members of the National Honor Society, I have a challenge for you. A few weeks ago, Ms. Seviller, Mr. Pushkis, and our counselors met with over 100 student leaders in our school, and many of you were there. We asked our student leaders to accept the challenge and join us in a challenge, and they did. But now it's time to be sure we remind one another daily of this challenge and seek innovative and new ways to do this. And we need to ask all of our National Honor Society members to join us as well. So what was the challenge? I'm sure many of you remember. The challenge was to share respect with others, to really think about Pine Richland pride and those values and what they mean to each one of us, all of us, as part of the Pine Richland High School family, because we are a family. We shared a physical reminder, many of you hopefully still have the bands, as a symbol of that Pine Richland family respect for one another. As a leader, as a student leader, by helping others become the best they can be, you become the best you can be. The true purpose of leadership that all of you have demonstrated and continue to demonstrate as members of this organization, is to serve others, to notice every day how others are being treated. And when we see that that treatment is not positive or not respectful, we need to do something about it. We need to be those leaders that step up, show respect, value diversity, and even report concerns for our classmates and tell others that maybe their actions just are not okay with what we believe here at Pine Richland High School. Our school provides diverse opportunities both in and beyond the classroom, and every one of you sitting here tonight is involved in so many of those. I challenge you to serve others by encouraging them to get involved alongside you, to join you in sharing respect and becoming fully engaged in what it means to be a Pine Richland Ram. We really need to work together to create moments of significance for others, letting our peers know that they are important, that we respect them. So I challenge you to see and embrace those differences in others and respect our individuality, respect our uniqueness, and respect our diversity. We want every Pine Richland High School student to know that they are respected, that we have Pine Richland pride, and that we show that in our words and, more importantly, in our actions. I congratulate all of you on behalf of Mr. Pushkis, Ms. Seviller, and the entire Pine Richland High School staff. Thank you.
would now like to introduce our distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Matthew Roberts. Mr. Roberts teaches AP Psychology and Asian Studies and works with many of our students in attendance this evening. He's also in charge of the Mind, Body, and Balance Club, which allows students to learn how to do yoga, fitness boxing, and meditation to improve overall mental health. We are pleased to have him here tonight to share his thoughts.
Good evening, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, our inductees. The stated purpose of the National Honor Society is to create enthusiasm for scholarship, to stimulate a desire to render service, to promote leadership, and to develop character in the students of secondary students. But why? Who cares? Why does scholarship matter? Why help others? Why do we need leaders with character? Confucius was asked this same question, to which he replied, "Let the leader preside over the people with gravity. Then they will revere him. Let him be filial and kind to all. Then they will be faithful to him. Let him advance the good and teach the incompetent. Then they will eagerly seek to be virtuous." Socrates believed that if knowledge can be learned, then so can virtue, and that the virtuous leader who is learned will do what is good for society. The Arthashastra, the great Sanskrit work of Mauryan India, tells us that in the happiness of his subjects lies the king's happiness, in their welfare his welfare. He shall not consider as good only that which pleases him, but treat as beneficial to him whatever pleases his subjects. And when a man asked the Prophet Muhammad, what was the mark whereby he might know the reality of his faith, Muhammad said, "If thou derive pleasure from the good which thou hast done, and are grieved by the evil which thou hast committed, thou art a true believer." The man asked, "In what does a fault really consist?" And Muhammad said, "When action pricketh thy conscience, forsake it." Every tradition, every culture, every successful nation on earth agrees that the morality of our leaders matters. If virtue and leadership mattered to ancient kingdoms and empires, then how much more must it matter to our democracy today? We need not look to ancient philosophers for the answers to these questions. We need look no further than our own founding mothers and fathers. You see, in the long cold winter of 1776, the founders of this country made a decision to no longer be subjects, but rather citizens. No longer pressed beneath the whims of tyrannical men, but rather standing protected by the laws of man. But having made this decision, they were immediately faced with a problem. Having rejected the divine right of kings and the brutal force of dictatorships, they were left to argue over which laws to adopt. Who decides them? What form of government shall we take? And the argument went on and on. Thankfully, these founders were wise enough to recognize that no perfect form of government exists. And so they gave to us instead a framework within which we might continue the argument. Our entire system of government is essentially a process by which we can argue our case without resorting to violence. It has not been perfect, and at times we have faltered. But always, this country has been on a path to greater and greater liberty. We have argued from the very beginning, states' rights versus federal rights. Who should be allowed to participate in the argument? White men? All men? Women? Should we go to war? Should we not go to war? Each time, there are arguments to be had and cases to be made. Inevitably, one side wins the argument, at least for a time. But the argument always goes on. And winning the argument is great, but be cautious of anyone who tries to stop the argument from ever occurring. Anyone who tries to silence the dissenting voice is no friend to democracy. It is the argument that is the thing. It is within the civil discourse that liberty thrives. And so I say to you, our future leaders of America, be virtuous. Hold tightly to your integrity, for it is the only thing that can never be taken from you, but is so easily lost. Argue passionately, but always peacefully. Respect your opponent, for without them, you are nothing more than a gilded showman on an empty stage. But you can be greater than that. You can be the leaders that we need, not the followers that we fear. You can be women and men of virtue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts, for those words of encouragement and wisdom. Throughout the year, members of our chapter serve as role models for other students. In addition to strong academic records, which establish our eligibility for membership, our chapter members are leaders in many student organizations, and we serve our school and community through many activities, including tri-events and volunteering with UPMC and St. Barnabas. We are proud of our members for their total of over 5,000 service hours completed last year. Thank you to our returning members for their dedication and service last year. We look forward to another successful year with all of you. Now we welcome these new members tonight who bring energy and support of our continuing work as NHS members. It is at this time that we proclaim to all in attendance that membership in the Pine Richland chapter of the National Honor Society has been earned by these candidates through the effective demonstration of the 4 qualities that serve as standards for the society. I would now like to introduce Sarah Coleman, our treasurer, to speak about the Pillar of Character and to induct our first group of new members.
Of the 4 qualities, we begin with character. Character is the force within the individual that distinguishes each person from others. It creates for each of us our individuality and our goodness. It is that without which no one can respect oneself or hope to attain the respect of others. It is the force of character that guides one through life and, once developed, grows steadily within. Character is achieved, not received. It is the product of constant thought and action, the daily striving to make the right choice. The problem of character is the problem of self-control. We must be in reality what we wish to appear to others, to be rather than to seem. By demonstrating such qualities as respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, fairness, and citizenship, we may hope to provide by example that we value character. We will now present our first group of new members. As your name is called, please step forward onto the stage to receive your certificate of membership and your pin. Please hold your applause until all students in this group have been named. Aaron Ahern, Enyo Aquena, Elliot Alexander, Thomas Andrews, Adriana Ovolio, Sydney Carlson, Jack Carnevali, Caitlin Cole, Catherine Cole, Emma Coleman, Prithvi Das, Grace Dugan, Elizabeth Zubek, Allison Eastburn, McKenna Exline. like to invite back to the podium Zainab Akhtar, our secretary, to speak about the pillar of leadership and to direct the next group of inductees to membership.
Leadership should exert a wholesome influence on the school. In taking initiative in the classroom and in school activities, a real leader strives to train and aid others to reach their common goals of success. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for the interests of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist in the school, community, or nation, they are ineffectual without the guidance of a wise leader. Leadership is always needed. Thus, to lead is a meaningful and impactful charge to each of our members. Now, as your name is called, please step forward onto the stage to receive your certificate of membership and PIN. Please hold your applause until all students in this group have been named. Max Farino, Zoe Farrar, Zach Ferris, Marissa Frick, Molly Gaffey, Ryan Gallo, Jacqueline Gill, Arjun Guglani, Sarah Hanlon, Lindsay Holland, Ryan Jorgensen, Alice Kimmel, Valerie Kester, Olivia Cost, Connor Kraus, Aranya Krishnan, and Kate Kwasnick. To speak about the next pillar, scholarship, I would like to introduce our peer tutoring coordinator, Devin Gala. Devin will then present our third group of new members.
Scholarship denotes a commitment to learning. A student is willing to spend hours in reading and study and understands the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. We should continue to learn even when formal education has ended, for human education ends only with the end of life. Knowledge is one great element in life, leads to the highest success, and can be acquired in only one way, through diligence and effort. Learning furnishes the lamp by which we read the past, provides the torch that guides us to understand the present, and supplies the light that illuminates the future. Candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship. And now, as your name is called, please step forward onto the stage to receive your certificate of membership and PIN. Please hold your applause until all students in this group have been named. Channing Lamparski, Ethan Landis, Callie Lawbacher, Justin Lowe, Megan Llewellyn, Isabella McGill, Julia Martin, Olivia McGeary, Holt Murray, Aaron Muth, Umayal Natason, Caitlin Newport, Ethan O'Neill, Spencer Pachavis, Alexandru Pelinescu, Jonathan Pepling, Seamus Regan, John Ryland, Jaime Rivero. Please allow me to introduce Radha Patel and Mahika Sampat, our service coordinators, to talk about the fourth pillar of service and to call forward our last group of new members.
Service can be established in the routine of the day's work, where many opportunities arise to help others both at school and in the community. A willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without monetary compensation or public recognition is a quality we seek in our members and promote for the entire student body. We are committed to volunteering our time and talents to the creation of a better tomorrow.
And now, as your name is called, please step forward onto the stage to receive your certificate of membership and PIN. Please hold your applause until all students in this group have been named. Gina Sable, Jackson Sevco, Sydney Snyder, Benjamin Solomon, Elizabeth Theus, Claire Tobin, Jack Tyndall, Benjamin Vidic, Kristen Vigna, Alexandra Yarbrough, Kareem Zane.
We will now light the 4 candles representing the 4 pillars of National Honor Society from the Candle of Knowledge. The officers and I stand strongly behind the pillars of NHS. As members last year, we were able to demonstrate these qualities among our peers and be leaders in our community. This year, the officers and I look forward to a great year of service and developing our leadership abilities. And now, please welcome our Superintendent, Dr. Brian Miller, who will offer congratulatory remarks to the new members.
First, I'd like to recognize and thank the officers for being so efficient and prepared, dignified in their leadership and management. And we are fortunate to have sponsors who do the same thing. So please give them a round of applause. So good evening. Congratulations to tonight's inductees and to the returning members from last year. Parents and grandparents, we know you are proud. Many of us have been in those seats as well and know what it's like to have your child walk across the stage based upon their actions and effort over so much time. So congratulations. In a few minutes, you will recite the oath. And the oath represents a pledge each and every one of you will make to continue to focus on these 4 pillars at PR and beyond. This is sort of like the diploma. The diploma for Pine Richland is built on those that have come before you. Same thing with NHS. Those 4 pillars are critical in how you act and behave now and in the future. Next year's class will stand on your shoulders. Same for last year. What I heard Mrs. Bowman say, and students, I sure hope you were listening. So what I heard her say, boiled down, is that she's challenging you to step up. Not in big ways all the time, but in little ways every day. It's always incredible to me when two people are preparing remarks, they don't talk beforehand, and the remarks that are prepared follow the same thread. So her message was to challenge you to step up. I'd like to give you a call to action as well. I would like to ask for your help. Almost 130, ballpark, does that sound about right? Not quite 10% of the student body at the high school. As a staff and as a district, we talk about a mission, focus on learning for every student every day. The hardest part of that mission is the word every. 4,600 students at Pine Richland, from 5 years old to 21 years old, each with unique interests, each with different passions and a different future, but meeting the needs of every student is incredibly challenging. And we need help. We need your help to make the high school a place where every student feels comfortable. It is not that place right now. The only way we can get to every student is if we have students engaged in helping us do that. Help us make the high school a place where differences and diversity is not just respected, but is actively encouraged, embraced. Differences and diversity. Doesn't matter what kind of house you live in, doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. One of the pillars is around character. Help us make this a place where diversity is encouraged, embraced for every student, so that every student feels comfortable. Help us make the high school safer. Schools, other organizations across the country are faced with challenges of safety. We need your help. We need you to help each other. We need you to be a friend or a classmate. We need you to refer or report or do what it takes when somebody's in a tough spot or making poor decisions or feels like they don't have any way out or anywhere to go or no one to talk to. We need you in order to achieve the mission of every student every day. Help us preserve academic integrity. National Honor Society students often have a significant course load. They crave that challenge. Some of them for learning, some of you because you want to pursue a certain school and you want to position yourself to do that. Sometimes the pressure that you put on yourself or you feel is placed on you by others at home or at school is tough to handle. And so maybe even in National Honor Society, you're faced with the challenge of academic integrity and independent work. There's a time to collaborate, there's a time to do your own work. Not only for National Honor Society, but across the school. This is not unique to high school, not unique to Pine Richland. Academic integrity means the struggle of learning, not the pressure of always having a high A or a mid A. Life is tough, but the learning, the development happens best when you approach that challenge. So, challenge to step up. Mine is sort of a call to action to engage with us so that every student feels good about going to school. You have to go to school. But if you have to go to school, we want you to want to go to school here. And we want the differences that each child, each student has to be actively encouraged and embraced. We are so proud of you. So proud of you. We're so proud for your parents and how they feel, grandparents who are here tonight. And I'm making that assumption just based on a visual inspection of the audience. We're proud of you. With this type of recognition, there is responsibility. So enjoy this evening, celebrate, but when you come to school tomorrow, step up and help make this a great place for every student. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller, for those final remarks. At this time, will the new inductees and current members please rise for the reciting of our oath. Please raise your right hand and repeat the pledge after me. I pledge to maintain high scholastic standing. To endeavor intelligently and courageously to be a leader. To give myself freely in service to others. And to hold as fundamental and worthy. An untarnished character. In doing so, I shall prove myself worthy. Of a place in the National Honor Society. Thank you. You may be seated.
We would like to thank you all for attending our National Honor Society Induction Ceremony. Special thanks are extended to our administrators for their attendance and support. We would also like to give special thanks to our parents and families for helping us to get to where we are today. And now, I ask that everyone please stand for the recessional of our new inductees, thereby signifying the end of tonight's induction ceremony.